boys and girls, and welcome to episode 200 of Sonic Boom TV. Supposed to be some streamers falling and confetti and some lasers shooting across, and I think a parachute guy, and well, there was going to be this like inflatable giant me wobbling around, and maybe a Stave Puft Marshmallow Man or something like that. But at the last second, they cut our budget, and we just can't do it. So we had to settle for this Record Store Day Taylor Swift pin that I've decided to wear for this video to draw in the many viewers of YouTube. This button's going to bring them all here for this show. It's going to be awesome. So, 200 episodes. Did not think I would make it this far at the beginning there because, you know, if you've been here all along, you know I had some rough times. Wasn't doing so well for a while there, but got a new job. Life's a little better. Still broke. That's why we don't have the fancy effects in this video. I forgot to call Van Halen and tell them that not to show up. So they may come in during the middle of the video. I don't know. But anyway, you know, things are a little better. Hopefully they'll get even more better in the next year. And I can get some more things going that I want to get going. Anyway, so I want to thank everybody that's watched most of my videos, or if somebody's watched all of my videos, which there may be one or two of you that have. Thanks a lot. I wish that I could send you something right now. But I can't. So, anyway, there will be a contest. It was supposed to be for this episode, but just not working out that way. It's probably going to be, I think, around the 14th or the 15th when I can buy the stuff that I want to give away, and then I'll do the contest. So it'll be early 200 episodes, but it won't be for the 200th episode like this. So what I decided to do for this episode is you'll notice I've cleaned off all this stuff right now. I don't know what I want to put up here right now, and I just thought this is kind of how it started, with some records and stuff. Maybe I don't know what. Maybe it was CDs. I don't even remember how we started this, but I should have watched the first episode to remind myself. But just wanted to keep it bare bones for now. And I wanted to talk about. It was supposed to be 20 albums. Then it went to 25. And then I realized I couldn't count, and I was at 29 for some reason, so I just made it 30. So we're going to talk about 30 albums, or on a show, 30 albums. Some of them are CDs, some of them are records, and they are the kind of albums, I guess, that would, if you want to be like me, and kind of my kind of collection, these will start you. These will be the gateway to everything else there is that I like and collect mostly. And so some of them are favorite albums. Some of them are like what album I think is the best for that band, or the album that kind of broke them through, I guess. And you know, each one of them should lead you to other things if you're willing to go find it. There's there's a little bit of everything. Some multiple genre, the same genre, multiple albums. Some that are just two bands that I think, if you like this one, you should like this one, kind of thing. And I'm not going to do them in any kind of particular order. I just got a stack right there. The only two that are in any kind of order are the first two. And that's just because I wanted to go with something that comes from when I first started. So, back in the day, 1974, maybe, I used to go to my grandmother's house, and my mom too, and I will show this in a very soon video, this record player that I first really got into music on. But I can't show it today. But it's sitting right there. Just can't show it because there's stuff on top of it. But the very 1974 is basically when I got into music, and started liking things, or recognizing things, because I was born in 71, and I guess it was 74, 75, one of those years. And my grandmother and my mom and everybody else, they used to have records and stuff. And there was Rhinestone Cowboy, I guess they got the 45 for that, and by Glenn Campbell, and the My Ding-a-Ling by Chuck Berry, and I have that one on 45 too. I have the ones that the original ones that we used to listen to when we were kids, and I loved those songs. And every time I went to my grandmother's house, she would play them for me, and I just grew to love music. I'm not in any way, there goes my dog, in any way like an audiophile person. I don't understand what people are saying they hear with these fancy, record players and the fancy needle stylus, whatever we're calling them, and the head shells and all that other stuff. I just don't care. I just want to take this off the shelf, boom, hey, and I couldn't do that again if I tried. I want to listen to Herb Alpert today, and I'm putting it on, and you know what? It's going to sound good to me one way or the other. It doesn't matter what format it's in. It could be tape, cassette, CD. Tape and cassette are the same thing. CD, record, whatever, MP3s. I just don't care. I just want to listen to it. Everybody's got a different stereo, so it probably sounds a little bit different no matter how you listen to it. And maybe I can get something that sounds better than you do. I don't know, and it doesn't matter. Just as long as you enjoy the music, that's it. So, that being said, I kind of grew up, through the 70s and 80s, and records kind of went away, and, cassettes and records kind of lived together for a while, and I started taping music off of the radio. We'd buy blank cassettes. I still have a ton of them around, they're put away right now because I don't have anywhere to put them, I would tape songs off the radio, and I used to try to get, like, when the person on the radio would say the name of the song a lot of times. I don't know why I did that, because it cut off a piece of the song most of the time. But I would always, hey, we're playing the new, Rod Stewart song or whatever. And, I would try to get them saying that and then have the song. And so I had tons of cassettes with just different stuff from the radio. And that's how I had music for a while. I mean, it was... probably most of the early 80s into maybe 84, 85, maybe, when I started being able to buy or at least get stuff. It had to be after that. It had to be after 84. It had to be about 85, 86 maybe, when I started being able to buy cassettes. And then I joined the BMG Music Club. And not long, well, I guess it was long. It was a couple years. Maybe in 89, I started buying CDs, and I went crazy, guys. I was in BMG Music Club. I was in Columbia House. I was in them several times. I had accounts under my name, my dog's name, my mom's name, and I paid for everything. I wasn't like one of these people that didn't pay. When I went to college, I had an address at college, so I was going back and forth with the suggest your friend and get free music and all that. And I paid for everything, the shipping and all that. But I got a lot of CDs that way, and I still have all of them. So anyway, then move along. I was in college, and it was around. I graduated in '98, so it had to be around 1996, 95, 96. Somewhere between 95 and 97, I would think. There was a radio station on campus that a long time ago was a rock station. Or earlier, before I got there in the 90s. In the 80s, I guess, early 90s maybe, but definitely before. And they had tons of records and stuff, but they changed to a jazz and world music station. It was a college radio station, and they went to this format of music that nobody listened to. Like, the only people that were listening to it, sorry to say, were the old people that lived in Hammond, Louisiana, because the kids were not listening to it. And they decided to get rid of all their old albums. Well, one day I walk out, and the student union is full of just tables of boxes and boxes of records. And of course, I didn't have a car at the time. I had a bike, and so I grabbed what I could at first, and I rode my bike back to my dorm, put those in there, grabbed the bag, the biggest bag I had, whatever, backpack or something, went back over there, and I started just going through them and pulling out anything that I thought had a cool cover or I knew the name of. And man, do I wish I could go back in time and be there again, because I missed so much stuff, I'm sure, based on what I got. But I ended up getting like maybe 200 albums, a lot of heavy metal, like thrash music, which is a big, for most of my thrash music collection, probably came from that. For early thrash music anyway. I got bands like, Raven, Forced Entry, Nuclear Assault, not Venom, Violence, there's probably like 20 or 30 different ones. Dark Angel, or is it Dark Angel or Death Angel? One of those angels. I think it's Dark Angel. There's probably like 30 albums at least of that stuff. And then there's all kind of other stuff too. And some of it was real good. There's a few punk albums in there, like the Vibrators, which is, I showed that to people and they're like, "How did you get that?" And I was like, just happened to be there that day. And if I was there again now, I'd have a lot more. Anyway, I had a friend who kind of had fallen out a couple years ago, but he had bought a bunch of stuff. I mean, he grabbed a bunch of stuff. He had maybe 20 or 30. And he had them, and one day he's like, if you want these, I'll sell them to you for $20. So I probably bought 20 to 30 albums from him for $20. He kept one. It was a Sting album or something, or maybe a single or something. I don't know. But I ended up having all the Sting albums that he had anyway. So, it wasn't a big deal. I did get an Anthrax a single. I think it was for Got the Time. I think it was. But anyway, so after that, the records were gone pretty much, as far as being able to buy them unless you went to a record store, but you couldn't buy them at like Walmart or the mall or anywhere like that. All the records were gone. Kept collecting CDs at that point. Ton of CDs. I've got over 2,000, maybe 3,000. I don't know. There's a wall right there, and there's boxes on top of the record player that I can't show you today. But anyway, went on. I collected that all through college. I was getting tons of CDs, and there were record stores around here. Where I lived I lived in Slidell, Louisiana, and Metairie, Louisiana, and there used to be a lot of places where you could go to buy music and records and stuff. There were stores in the mall. There were little independent stores. There were just stores everywhere, and then they blame it on the MP3 thing. But it was really the high prices, I think, that got to people, because at some point CDs got up to like $19, $20, and people stopped buying them because they were getting free MP3s. Yes, they were getting free MP3s off of places like Napster and LimeWire and all that other stuff. But I don't think that's really what killed it. Streaming nowadays, I think people are getting tired of it. Because they don't have as much control over what they own, and I see a lot more people talking about getting into CDs, records, even cassettes. I'm in like one or two groups of each one of those things on Facebook. I used to be in a bunch, and I was just like, I can't take it anymore. People are crazy. And, they complain about everything and whatever, but there's a few good people, so I've picked a couple groups and I stayed. But anyway, so I kept collecting, and then 2005, when Hurricane Katrina hit in New Orleans, it messed the place up, guys. And at that point, it seemed like all the record stores, not records, but CD stores, kind of disappeared, and the radio stations here began to not exist for a while, because all it was is news that you could get. There was no music for months, and then finally when the music came back, it wasn't really anything new. It was, they kept playing it still to this day like this. They play mostly old, like 90s alternative, some heavy metal mixed in, like there's Metallica and Def Leppard, and maybe you get a Poison song here and there or something like that, but it's mostly 90s alternative, or it's whatever the newer modern rock is. They play some of that, but it's not like it used to be, where you could turn the radio on and you could hear songs that, for me, that, pretty much rock songs, rock out songs, whatever. You don't hear that stuff anymore. It's all this, auto-tuned kind of stuff. If you get something new, and then it's all the same stuff you've heard for the last 30 years. So I kind of, at that time, I kind of lost track of what was going on in music. Like, I didn't know who was new, who was good, who was whatever. Lost track of it for at least 5 years. I moved in this place in 2006, and I don't think I bought a CD for a couple years. And then I started, I knew there were a couple music stores that were open, record stores and stuff. And I started going around looking and buying just a few things here and there. I'd go to thrift stores, buy some CDs there. Still wasn't getting anything new. And so then I moved on to just kind of getting stuff off from the library and stuff. They let you download some songs, getting that kind of stuff, and just finding things, like some, not necessarily new things, but just whatever I could get. And then I don't know, maybe I don't know what year it was, but I'm gonna say somewhere around 2015 or so, I started going to the record store and picking up some things. And I wasn't picking up a lot, and I was doing a lot of dollar bin stuff. But then I started getting records, and I said, you know what, I want to get back into records, because it kind of ended right when I was starting. And I had gotten some, but then I just went to the other formats. So I wanted to get back into records, and I've built my collection up pretty good so far. I mean, I've got like 2,000 records. Some of it is stuff that I'll never probably listen to, more than once. But then there's other things that are stuff I'll listen to a lot, and stuff I'm going to keep listening to. And and people are probably like, "Oh, why don't you get rid of stuff you're not going to listen to?" I don't know. It's just it's an addiction, basically. You get it, and then you don't want to give it up. So even if it's worth nothing, and for the most part, it's worth nothing as far as resale value goes. But anyway, so I started buying records more and more, finding ways to get stuff, finding discounts. My friend used to own this store right here, Spin the Black Circle Records. She is probably not watching this, but anyway, just thought I'd wear it. So started building up, and then I was like, kind of went through my, lost a job and stuff, and wasn't sure I could buy anything. And Whatnot came around last year that I knew about anyway, and that has been the most crazy, insane thing, because I've bought so many records off these people on there for cheap. I mean, I get so many $5 records, brand new, still sealed when I buy them, and they range, like, and things I know, things I don't know, and I buy a lot of it. And I've only been disappointed maybe twice on things that I paid for, and there was a few things that I won, like, they do giveaways, and a couple of those I didn't like. I actually went and returned 2 of those last week, traded them in, I should say. Got $20 off of 2 free records, so could have got more probably if I'd have sold them to somebody, but I just wanted to get rid of them. So anyway, that's kind of the story of how I got to where I am now, and I have over 2,000 records. That's including 7 inches, 45s, And then CDs at least 2,000, maybe close to three, because I've got this whole wall right here of CDs, and I got a whole bunch of boxes of CDs right there. And then cassettes are much less. I probably have under 300 cassettes. I don't think it's more than 250 actually, but I don't know. My goal is to get the good ones out of these boxes, so I can at least try to listen to them at some point if I want to. There are a few that I want to. Other ones I've already got on CD or vinyl or whatever. So anyway, that's a long story short. I've been here for 20 minutes. If you're still here, you might be crazy. So anyway, we're going to go through these records and CDs I got here. Just kind of show you some of the things that kind of inspire my collection. And like I said earlier, each one, if you went and looked up the related bands to each one of these, you'd find a ton more stuff. And I probably have a lot of the stuff, because I don't want to have every album by every band, because I don't have every album by every band that I'm going to show. But it will lead you to the other things. And if you're looking for something like, oh, he had this, maybe I should look at this and see what's, whatever kind of thing. Just kind of, send you on a trip. So anyway, I'm going to start with the first two, because these are the first two that albums that really were really my thing when I started having a thing. Everybody's got their kind of music they like, and at the beginning of the 80s, I started with the hard rock and heavy metal stuff, and not the it wasn't the thrash metal. It was like the glam metal kind of stuff, and the hard rock stuff. So let's just go. Let's just start. Start off. We got Def Leppard's Pyromania. This is my first favorite album, my first favorite band. My first time I ever heard heavy metal was not off of this album, actually. It was off the one before this. But this is the one that got them mega popular. And this one has, Photograph, Stage Fright, Too Late for Love, Foolin', Rock of Ages, and Rock Till You Drop. Those are the big hits on that one, I think, and such a great album, so that's my first one. The next one up, and these are in no particular order, by the way. Next one would be Zebra, self-titled. This is the New Orleans connection to the hair metal kind of stuff, or at least one of the ones. There's only 2 or 3 that really made it. But a lot of people think they're from New York because they spend a lot of time there, Long Island to be specific. But they are from New Orleans. They played here for years and years and years, even after all that stuff was gone and new things come out. They still were consistent playing here, and still to this day, I can listen to this album. It's flawless as far as I'm concerned. Tell Me What You Want, One More Chance, Slow Down. As I said before, Who's Behind the Door? That's side one, and they're all great songs. And then when you get there, Take Your Fingers From My Hair, Don't Walk Away, and the La La Song are the side two. Great album. Hard rock. They did get compared to Led Zeppelin, and that was kind of why they didn't go superstars or whatever, I think, because they made it pretty big, and people know them all over. But I that comparison they got to Led Zeppelin kind of killed them, just like it did Kingdom Come and a couple other bands that people tried to latch that name to, because you say somebody's a Led Zeppelin clone, nobody wants to hear you, unless you're Greta Van Fleet. So next up, let's get right into some more stuff. We've got a band that I love. They're like pop kind of, but they were alternative rock, and one of the first alternative rock bands that I was into. We'll get to the other ones, but this one was a very pop-oriented album, but still, as poppy as they were still a good rock band. And NXS Kick. This album is kind of dirty. I found this in a dollar bin, and I think it was in a dollar bin because it had a skip. Well, I took a toothpick and popped a little piece of dirt or whatever it was that was stuck in there that made it skip, and now it plays flawlessly. The jacket is dirty, but this one had Guns in the Sky, New Sensation, Devil Inside, Need You Tonight, Mediate, The Loved One. That's all on one side as well. Wildlife, Never Tear Us Apart, Mystify, Kick, Calling All Nations, and Tiny Daggers. Great album from, and this is the one that broke them through. I mean, they were already kind of popular, but this is the one that took them off into the stratosphere. And the girls loved Michael Hutchence. Too bad he no longer with us. Next up, let's do a couple CDs. Speaking of alternative rocks, this is the album that also took this band into superstardom, I think. But this is probably one of the first bands that I remember hearing as like an alternative rock band. REM Green, and that song that I heard was Radio Free Europe, and it was the weirdest way I heard it. My grandfather used to have one of those world band radios, where you could listen to people talking or other radio stations from other countries, and I never knew exactly how it worked. He gave one to me like that, but it broke when I was in college. It was left like at my sister's house or something because I was living with her for a little while, and I think it fell off the dresser or something, and it cracked in half. I don't know, some weird stuff. So anyway, but I heard Radio Free Europe on that thing, and I didn't know who it was at the time, but it was REM. So anyway, REM's Green album came out when I was in high school, and this song has Pop Song 89. I guess it probably came out in 88 or 89. Get Up, You Are Everything, Stand. Stand is the one that took them. Stand in the Place Where You Live and all that stuff. Orange Crush, Hair Shirt, and those are the big ones off of that one, I think. So REM Green, check them out. I mean, if you like them, you'll end up liking like bands like Midnight Oil and U2 and just that all the rock that wasn't mainstream at the time, but it was still really good. So check them out. They've got a lot of albums. I've got most of them. I don't have much on vinyl, but I do have a lot of CDs, and there's some stuff that I'm trying to get, but I just haven't got around to getting it yet. I missed out on a couple things that I wanted. Anyway, next one, Cinderella's Long Cold Winter. This was that band that kind of bridged the bluesy rock sound with the glam metal. They kind of looked glam metal, but they didn't sound it as much. Although if you look at that, they look like a black metal band. They one of my favorites. This has got this is Long Cold Winter, if I didn't say it. But it's got Bad Seamstress Blues, which is and then that goes into Falling Apart at the Seams. You got to listen to those together. Now, Gypsy Road, you don't know what you got till it's gone. The Last Mile, Second Wind, Long Cold Winter. If you don't like it, Coming Home, Fire and Ice, and Take Me Back. Great album. I don't know why they dressed the way they did, but based on what they played, it was really weird. And I think because even like the next album was almost like a country kind of album, not quite, but almost a country album. So who knows? Another one, we got one more CD for now. Is Lillian Axe, Love and War. This is by far their greatest album. They didn't. I mean, they got a lot of good albums still after this, but this is the one that if you want to get into them, start here. My cover. It's got All's Fair in Love and War. She likes it on top. Diana, Down on You, The World Stopped Turning, Ghost of Winter, My Number, Show a Little Love, Fool's Paradise, and Letters in the Rain. I think My Number is actually a cover song. I'm not quite sure on that one. But great album. I wish I could get this on vinyl. They're supposed to reissue it as far as I know, but it hasn't happened yet. So anyway, and it's probably because this was on MCA Records and the later stuff was on different labels. So MCA may be holding it up for some reason. I don't know. I don't know who has the rights to it nowadays. But anyway, Lillian Axe. I mean, this is their hair metal stage or glam metal or whatever. Very good. Just as good as anything else you heard from that era. Go get this one. All right, let's change the subject a little bit and move on to something. One of my favorite all-time albums, punk rock. This one led me to a lot of stuff, and that would be Rancid's and Out Come the Wolves. This is not their first album. It's probably their third or fourth album. I think it's their third, maybe fourth. I don't know. But anyway, this one led me to their whole catalog. I believe I have everything as far as albums go, and I have a few other kind of singles and stuff like that. But this album is the best as far as I'm good. It's kind of got a pop punk feel to it, but it's also kind of a street punk thing, you know. It just kind of covers a lot of ground. There's a lot of songs on it. I think there's 19 or 20 songs, maybe more. Maxwell Murder, The 11th Hour, Roots Radicals, Time Bomb. That's the one everybody knows. It's got a little bit of ska in it too, if you listen to that song. Olympia, Washington, Junkie Man, Ruby Soho was the other one that was a big hit for him. Journey to the End of the East Bay is one of my most favorite songs of any genre. I love that song. It's just perfect. She's Automatic. The War's End. I love that song as well. You Don't Care Nothing, As Wicked, Avenues and Alleyways. Just a great album. If you want to get into punk rock and you don't know where to go, you could start with this and find so much other stuff to go with it. Because like I said, it kind of bridges that pop punk to more of the original kind of punk. Throws in a little ska, throws in a little bit of this and that. Such a great album. And the album cover, I love the album cover too. So that's that one. Next up, we're going to go into some thrash metal. Metallica, Master of Puppets. Everybody knows this album now. Thanks to Stranger Things, everybody knows this album now. No matter how old you are, every person knows it. That's into music. Not every person, but people that wouldn't know it normally. Got just every person, every race, creed, color, whatever, all that stuff. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it, and everybody seems to like it. And that is because of the song, that was on the show, which was I think it was Master of Puppets, or was it Sanitarium? I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll just go through Battery, Master of Puppets, The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Sanitarium, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, Orion, and Damage Incorporated. The first side of this, I could play it a million times in a row and not get tired of it. This is not the first album I heard by Metallica, but I did know Welcome Home, Sanitarium, which is probably my favorite, and Master of Puppets is my second favorite. But I actually heard a couple songs before that because I had a cassette it was like a random cassette that I found somewhere, and it had one Metallica song or one or two, but it was older stuff. It was like from the early days, and this is still the early days, but earlier. So anyway, I didn't like Metallica when they first came up around, as far as I knew, because I thought all the songs sounded the same, and the problem was I was only hearing like 2 songs or 3 songs, and they did kind of sound the same. And I used to have a friend that would always wear their shirts. He would wear Metallica shirts and a Hook and Mouth shirt by Megadeth, and it would I would always make fun of Metallica to him. And then just a couple years later, when I started really listening to Metallica, I was like, I was stupid, wasn't I? So anyway, and I've been a Metallica fan, once And Justice for All came out. Is the first album I listened to the whole album. After that, I've been a fan since then, and I went back and got all the other albums. So, Metallica, Master of Puppets. Next one, back on that early alternative rock stuff. People hate this band these days. I don't know why. I mean, they did get kind of bad, I think, as far as the music they do now. But in the early days, I think they were great. They were a great rock band, alternative rock band. One of the original ones. They kind of were a little bit in the punk rock scene. I think in the early days, but not really. I mean, I've heard them referenced as that, but I don't. I think they were just a little bit angrier back then, and that's what made them good. And so anyway, U2's Boy. This is the 40th anniversary edition, limited edition on white vinyl. Record store day Black Friday. I got this like 2 years after it came out. Thankfully, my boy that used to be Spinning Black Circle had it, and she let me let her hold it for a couple months before I could buy it. But this one's got I Will Follow. That's the song that really started it for U2, I think. Twilight, Ankat Dub, ANCATDUBH. Into the Heart, Out of Control. That's another good one, Out of Control. Stories for Boys, The Ocean, A Day Without Me, Another Time, Another Place. The Electrico is another big song by them, and Shadows in Tall Trees. This is really good. If you like U2's like the Joshua Tree and stuff, this is the one that connects to that the best, I think. That this and the live at Red Rocks album, those kind of go good together. October was a little, Unforgettable Fire is good as well, but check if you're gonna start a U2 thing, I would say either do this or do the Joshua Tree. I don't have the Joshua Tree on vinyl. I thought I did, but I don't. But check it out. One of these two if you want to start a U2 collection. I would not suggest starting anything after like Rattle and Hum, and Achtung Baby is probably the last one. Anything after Achtung Baby, you don't want to start there. That's gonna give you a different U2 that may or may not be where you want to go. So let's see. Okay. So next up, we're going to spend a little bit of time on some grunge rock, and this is probably the least of the grunge bands, and maybe not grunge at all, according to some people. I think this album kind of fits, and a little bit of the second album. This is Pearl Jam's 10. I'm not sure which version I got in my hand. This is one from Walmart, I think. Looks like a Walmart sticker on the back. But 10, this was early 90s, kind of what killed hair metal, as they say, but not really. I think it just was time to change. But Pearl Jam's 10, this was a favorite album of mine for a long, long time. And they've become more of a hard rock band, I think. And a lot of people don't like them anymore. I still like them. I don't think they're as strong as they used to be. I think they used to do some really good songs. And I just they don't have those hits anymore. The ones that sound like hits don't necessarily have to be a hit, but the ones that make you, make you buy the album kind of stuff, Now they're more for, just the fans, the hardcore fans, I guess, where they don't have songs that, blow up the radio every 5 minutes. These still do. This one's got Once, Even Flow, Alive, Why Go, Black, and Jeremy. That's the first side, and those were all hits. Then we got Oceans, Porch, Garden, Deep, and Release. The funny thing about Pearl Jam is, I used to listen to these radio shows, and they would always like premiere like different songs. And so one night they played Pearl Jam. They played Once, Even Flow, and Alive, and maybe Jeremy. I'm not sure. I don't think Jeremy was the one. I think there was 3 for sure, and maybe one other one. But they played off of this before it came out, and I was just recording the show because I used to tape everything, like I said. And so I had that, and they played Nirvana, and they played Smells Like Teen Spirit is the one for sure, and then I don't remember what the other ones were from Nirvana, but I had either 3 or 4 Pearl Jam songs, and 2 at least, maybe 3 Nirvana songs on a tape before anybody really knew who they were. I mean, this was Pearl Jam's first album, but Nirvana had already had out Bleach, but not a lot of people knew them at that point. Maybe, my back's hurting, guys. Maybe like in Seattle area, those places would know, but as far as spread everywhere. Not a lot of people knew Nirvana until their album came out. But I had those songs, and I was like, man, this stuff is so different and so, it's so new, and I loved it, but I didn't know what it was, and I didn't, there was no such word as grunge at the time, and I don't know where the word grunge even came from. I think it was probably MTV or something, decided to tag that name, but Pearl Jam was one of the leaders of that movement, I guess, even though they may be the least grunge of the bunch. But if you get Pearl Jam, then you go find things like Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Mudhoney, Green River, Tad, all those other things. If you just follow those bands, you go down the line, you'll find tons more stuff. So let's go to something that was kind of a rebellion against. Poison. Not open up and say, look what the cat dragged in. This cover of these guys is ridiculous. Do they not come off as women? Because they look exactly like women. Maybe not the prettiest women in the world, but they definitely look like women. And I don't know what that was about either. Why, I never understood that, what the makeup was about, because, the whole leather, and even the blown out hair or whatever, that didn't bother me so much. But when bands did this, it did get a little weird for me. I don't know the back cover, but this album is so freaking great. I love every bit of it. Aside from the, silly cover and the silly makeup or whatever, but, I don't know. I don't know how these guys were getting all the women, but they were. But anyway, got Cry Tough. I Want Action. I Won't Forget You. Play Dirty. Look what the cat dragged in. Talk Dirty to Me. Want Some, Need Some. Blame It on You. Number One, Bad Boy. And Let Me Go to the Show. This is a BMG version of this as well. But I've had this one since pretty much the beginning of it when it came out. And this is my original vinyl. So cool. Now we're going to go back to the 60s or 70s maybe. I don't remember when this one came out. But this is the Beatles, Abbey Road. I picked this one mainly because it's the one that I kind of go back to a lot when I want to listen to the Beatles. I don't know why, because it's not, I wouldn't say it's their best album, but it's got Come Together on it, something. Maxwell's Silver Hammer, Oh Darling, Octopus's Garden, I Want You, Here Comes the Sun, Because You Never Give Me Your Money, Sun King, Me and Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight. Those three songs kind of go together, I think. And Carry That Weight is I love. It's only like 2 minutes. I love that song, and then the end. And I just kind of go back to this one as my starting point for the Beatles. I don't know why it's this one, but the Beatles are probably the greatest rock band ever, and they are like a boy band type thing, super pop, stuff in the early days. They got more like psychedelic and kind of whatever in the end, but they didn't do any really bad songs, even that new song is pretty good. Even though I wouldn't consider that new song a real Beatles song as far as how it goes, because if John Lennon was recording with them, with Paul, it would have came out a completely different song. If you've watched the documentaries and stuff, you see how they worked, and that they would have been, no, that's wrong, and they would have went back and forth and made something even better. So, but this is the one I always kind of go back to as the starting point to where, to go with the other stuff. White Album's great, Rubber Soul, all that stuff, man. But this one, if you want to start, this is a good place to start, I think. Once you get one Beatles record, you're going to want more. That's all I know about them. All right, let's move on back to some CDs. Next up, we got a little bit of ska punk, which is this band right here is probably the path to ska for me completely. That's Less Than Jake. This is called Losing Streak. This one probably doesn't have really many hit songs on it, but it led me into a lot of other things. There's a song called Automatic, Ninth and Pine, Johnny Quest Thinks We're Sellouts. I love that song. Crazy Glue. That might have been a hit. Not a hit, but a popular song. How's My Driving? Doug Hastings. Dope Man. That one I believe I've heard on the radio before. And Jen Doesn't Like Me Anymore. That's one of my favorites. But anyway, their next album, Hello Rockview, I think it was their next one after this, is the one that kind of where they got a little bit popular. But this one will definitely introduce you to a lot of other things. If you want to be into ska music or punk music, I don't know why people give ska music a bad name, because it's really good music. I think it's got a good feel to it, and maybe that's what it is. People don't want to feel good sometimes when they're listening to that kind of music, but it is what it is. So anyway, check out Less Than Jake, Losing Streak. Then get back into the thrash, and this one is my favorite album by this band, Megadeth's Rust in Peace. This is the first Megadeth album I heard. The only song, the first song that I ever heard by Megadeth, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think was their cover of Sex Pistols' Anarchy in the UK, which they don't even play anymore because Dave Mustaine has religious issues with it, and got a right to do that. But anyway, this one, it's got Holy Wars, Punishment Due, Hangar 18, Take No Prisoners, Five Magic, Poison Was the Cure, Lucretia, Tornado of Souls, Dawn Patrol, and Rust in Peace, Polaris. This is a great album, start to finish. Their Countdown to Extinction, I believe, is just as good as this one, I think. Little bit more mainstream, but this one is where I started, and I went back and got the early stuff. I think I still don't have the first album. I have MP3s of it, but I don't have a copy of it because they did something where they took some songs off or something, and I just don't want to spend a lot of money for the original version. So I just never have bought it, but I'll get it eventually. Vinyl, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, Rust in Peace by Megadeth, definitely old school thrash style Megadeth. This one, will lead, like I said before, will lead you into a lot of other thrash bands, and a lot of things when I do these. What I used to do is I used to always read the notes, like the liner notes and stuff, to see who they thanked, because a lot of, back in the day anyway, I don't know if they still do it because they rarely do it anymore, but they used to thank other bands. And when they say, okay, Megadeth, so Dave Mustaine thanks, and he'd leave, say his family and friends and all that other stuff, but then there'd be a list of bands, and I would always try to check out those bands. Some of them I knew, some of them I didn't, and if I didn't know them, it was a lot harder back in those days, but I would try to find as many as I could, and even if I got one CD or one tape or whatever by them, still I found these other bands because of other bands that I liked, and that was the way to really find things, back in the old days. It's not like now where you just go on your computer and say, or your phone, and just, hey, look up thrash metal, and it tells you every band that ever existed, Not like that back in the old days. Then next up, back to the ska punk stuff. This is a really fun band. Real Big Fish, Turn the Radio Off. This one, I don't think this is the first album, but this one has the song Sell Out, Trendy, She Has a Girlfriend Now. Fun songs, really good. Snoop Dogg Baby, that's a good song. If you like beer, there's a song called Beer, and you probably will like it, so check it out. But Everything Sucks, that was a big one. They got all the songs go in a circle or a square. And then that's probably about the biggest songs on it. But this band will take you into, a lot of the pop punk and pop ska punk bands, like, I said Less Than Jake already, but there's like Save Ferris and things like that. Another good one. Just this one, and then there's another one, Why They Rock So Hard. That's a really good one. That one's when they kind of made it a little bit, and then they kind of went away. But I did get to see them live, them and Less Than Jake at the same show. But really good. The next one is a compilation, not a compilation, I can't think what you call it. When there's a theme through the whole album, it's a story basically, and I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. But Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime. This is one of the best heavy metal albums of all time, as far as I'm concerned, from start to finish. You can't listen to this just one song. You got to listen to the whole thing. So if you're gonna listen to it, make sure you got an hour, maybe more than an hour. But I remember now, Anarchy X, Revolution Calling was a hit. Operation Mindcrime, kind of a hit. Speak, Spreading the Disease, The Mission, Sweet Sister Mary, The Needle Lies, Electric Requiem, Breaking the Silence, I Don't Believe in Love, that was a hit. Waiting for 22, My Empty Room, Eyes of a Stranger was probably the big hit off of this. And that's how it ends, with Eyes of a Stranger. So this one, it's just concept album. That's what I was trying to think. It's probably the best concept album I've ever heard, and I love every bit of it. I wish I had it on vinyl. I was gonna get it, and then it was a little bit too much, and I was thinking about it. And then when I went back, they didn't have it. So I could probably still get it, I'm sure. But I just didn't want to pay like $55 or whatever it was. And then the second Operation Mindcrime is absolutely terrible, and that was like $79 on Record Store Day. So I didn't get that one. But I bought the CD. I listened to it maybe twice in my life. First time I was like, oh my God, this was terrible. What are they doing? And then I just couldn't take it anymore. All right, we're how long? Ooh, this is 52 minutes. This video might cut off before I'm finished, which would be terrible. So let's do the rest of these CDs I got here and just whip through them. We got Soul Asylum, Grave Dancers Union, another great album. This will take you into the alternative rock scene of the 1990s. You will get, on this one, you got Somebody to Shove, Black Gold. Runaway Train is the big hit song that everybody knows, and people kind of think that's their whole sound, but it's not really. Keep It Up, Homesick, Get On Out, New World, April Fool, Without a Trace, Growing Into You, 99%, and The Sun Made. This album is absolutely great, and if you get this one, you immediately want to get the next one, because which is Let Your Dim Light Shine, because the covers are the same color scheme pretty much, and they go together. They just work so well. That could have been a double album, and it would have, probably blown the world away. But such a great band. They actually, Dave Pirner, the singer, I used to do my comic book, Strange City Heroes, it was called. Actually, I got a print of this one. Hey, look at that. Advertise, buy it on Amazon, buy it on Amazon. But anyway, he actually bought my regular issue. That's a book version, but I had a regular comic book issues. He actually bought one from me and asked me to sign it. So if Dave Pirner still has a comic book collection, he's probably got my comic books in it. At least one or two of them. I don't know how many he bought. But anyway, check out Soul Asylum. I love this band. I love this album. You can't go wrong with it. And I don't know what... Oh, no. Okay. So the next one is probably one of my favorite album photos of all time. And probably one of the most influential bands. One of the most important bands for a while anyway. And that would be London Calling by The Clash. Their early stuff is pretty much all the early punk stuff. This is kind of them, that they were one of the it bands. That you could say them, Sex Pistols, Ramones, things like that. And then if you start with the Clash, you'll find a whole bunch of punk stuff. Just keep on going down that rabbit hole because it don't stop once you get to them. And this photo, I think, is one of the just defines punk rock, rock and roll, and it wasn't supposed to be used. It was the lady thought it was that took it, thought it was a mistake, not a good picture. So London Calling, Jimmy Jazz, Hateful, Rudy Can't Fail, Spanish Bombs, The Right People, Lost in a Supermarket. That's a great song. I've seen that used in movies several times. Clamp Down, The Guns of Brixton, goodness, Wrong'em Boyo, Death or Glory, Coca-Cola, Lovers Rock, Four Horsemen, just a lot of good stuff on here. There are different versions, I believe, because a lot of their albums, there's a UK version and a United States version. I don't know which one this is, and I'm not sure what the differences are. I think a lot of the songs that were different were maybe been on that Story of the Clash record or album, which I have. I'm not sure, but I know there's some differences. So just start with either this or the self-titled The Clash album, because that's a good one too. I wouldn't say start with Rock the Casbah, even though that's a good album, that's a fun album, and it's the one people know, because that one's got Should I Stay or Should I Go on it, and Rock the Casbah. But I would start at that and go forward and backwards and up and down and everywhere you can go. Then we've got the New Orleans version of alternative 90s rock, and that would be Better Than Ezra's deluxe album. This is the original pressing, as they say, with the Fleur de Lis on red CD. Not worth anything more than the other one, I don't think. But this one has In the Blood, Good, Southern Girl, Killer Inside, Rosalia, Teenager, Porcelain, This Time of Year. Good is their biggest hit song. Everybody knows that song. They did get popular for a while, based mostly off of that song, but there were some others on other albums later. But this one is where you want to start with that if you want the New Orleans kind of alternative rock. Because if you get them, you'll find bands like Cowboy Mouth, Dash Rip Rock. Maybe how far you want to delve into New Orleans. You might even end up looking up some like punk bands like the Normals, and the Cold, different things like that. Because that's a good thing about when you find bands from certain places. If you start looking into that certain place, you'll start finding a lot of different bands. So that's what I brought this one in for, because it's alternative rock, but it's got that New Orleans connection. And they're not actually from New Orleans; they're from Baton Rouge. And up that way, Ruston maybe, but they played a lot in New Orleans back then, and they kind of get credited as a New Orleans band, so that's why I brought them in. And they're one of my favorite local bands that made it good. And speaking of local bands that made it good, these are not. Blink-182's Dude Ranch. This is the first Blink-182 album I ever heard. I love Blink-182's early stuff. Basically, their first 5 or 6 albums I thought were fantastic. And then all of a sudden they grew up, and somebody must have told them, hey, you need to change a little bit to be more mature. And when they became more mature, they became kind of bad, as far as I'm concerned. But I did buy their new album, and I'll do a show on that. And I'll talk about what I got there and what I think about that in the next couple days. But anyway, Dude Ranch had Damn It on it. That was their big hit. But it also has, can't say that one. Josie was another hit. I think I have a single or 2 singles maybe with that. Damn It, Voyeur, and I don't know if anything else was ever hit, but this one kind of introduced me to the band. Went back, got the Cheshire Cat and Buddha albums. Buddha is demos, I think. Cheshire Cat is the first album. Great stuff. Pop punk, that whole West Coast style. Then they did there's a live album. There's the Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. There's the one with the porn star model on the cover with the dressed like a nurse. What is that one called? That's the big hit one. That's the one that has all the small things and Adam's song and all that other stuff. But anyway, check this out if you want to go to pop punk route. Blink-182 will take you there. They won't stop. If you listen to the early stuff, it's so unique to them because I mean I think they were like very influential on that sound, but they kind of had their own thing, and you could tell a Blink-182 song when you hear it. The early stuff anyway. Nowadays, I don't know what's going on, but we'll go with that. So, speaking of pop punk and keeping it pop punk, the original for me, this is not the first album I heard, but I did get it right away once I found out about Green Day, and that is Green Day's Kerplunk. This one actually came with a 7-inch record that has extra song. I don't know if it's extra songs or something. I don't know. I know the. I don't know. I'll just show you what I got. This one has 2,000 Light Years Away, One for the Razorbacks, the original version of Welcome to Paradise, Christy Road, Private Ale, Dominated Love Slave, One of My Lies, 80, Android, No One Knows, Who Wrote Holden Caulfield, and Words I Might Have Ate. I love this album from start to finish. I used to play this so much. I got Dookie first. That was the first one I heard. But as soon as I heard Dookie, I went and I bought it. And then they had this one, and I think I bought it maybe the same day. They had, it wasn't long after, if not the first day, that I bought this one. This one came with a little 7-inch single though, and it's got Sweet Children, Best Thing in Town, Strange Land, and My Generation. Which are on, I think they might be on the CD version of this that I have, because I think my CD's got some bonus tracks, and I think those are the bonus tracks. So anyway, Green Day's Kerplunk. Great pop punk. Early Green Day is different than modern Green Day for sure. This is even different more than Dookie in a lot of ways. So you would get that. I would suggest getting 1,000 Hours, Slappy, whatever that one is. That one too, but go start there and then move your way up. And then, once you get past the one with the bomb on it, the hand grenade, once you get that far in, it starts getting a little weird. The newer one is supposed to be a little bit better than they have been lately. But their last couple albums are, But anyway, next up we got Dropkick Murphys, Blackout. I love this album. This one is a little bit this is when they kind of went more mainstream, and it's a perfect bridge, I think, into what they were and what they are, because I like the entire era. I mean, not the era, but the different eras of this band. I like it all, and I don't miss the old stuff. I don't wish they would still be doing it that way. And that's rare, because usually when you have a band that starts off like, let's say Metallica, when most people don't like the Black Album, even in Justice for All, they were like, no, that's not our Metallica, and then they hate everything after. This band, I love everything from the beginning and everything till the end, and they're still going. They've had recent albums. There's one member of the band that's been out the last 2 albums, I believe, and hopefully he'll come back. One of the singers, there's usually 2 singers, and he's been out dealing with family issues or something. But this one's got Walk Away, Worker Song, The Outcast, Black Velvet Band. That's one of my favorite ones. Gonna Be a Blackout Tonight, World Full of Hate, Buried Alive, The Dirty Glass, which is a funny song. Fields of Athenry, that is one of my favorites. I used to have a shirt that had the lyrics to that on the back. Bastards on Parade, As One, This Is Your Life, Time to Go, Kiss Me, I'm Bad Word Faced. Anyway, but they're like sort of a Boston. That's their thing. They're from Boston. Everything's about Boston with them. There's songs about it. They're Boston punk rock. If you're into that kind of stuff, and you'll like Mighty Boss Tones. What's the one? Oh, there's another one. There's a couple other bands from there. I can't think of them at the moment. I've been doing this video for too long. But anyway, if you listen to them, you'll find that whole Boston punk scene, and Flogging Molly, which is not from Boston, but, related. That kind of stuff, that's a perfect starting point for you. Next up, we go back to some alternative rock from the 90s, and that would be the Weezer, the Blue album, which is not really Blue album, but they have several albums called Weezer, so we call it the Blue album, and the other ones would be like the Green album, and the Black album, and the Red album, and whatever. I don't know why they did all that, but anyway, this is a fantastic alternative rock album. It's My Name is Jonas, No One Else. The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Buddy Holly, Undone, the Sweater Song was the song that broke them through to everybody. Surf Wax America, Say It Ain't So, In the Garage, one of my favorite songs ever, and happens to be this one. Holiday, Only in Dreams. Now, this one would take you into 90s alternative rock, and get you, kind of a little bit of nerdy kind of alternative rock. Great band. They were so much better at the beginning, and then I don't know what happened. They got kind of ridiculous, I think. Some of their albums are still good, some of them are not, I think. I usually try to at least get the MP3s of them and test them out. But I've only got a couple on vinyl, and I've got maybe 6 or so on CD. But this one and the second one are absolutely masterpieces for me. The second one a lot of people didn't like because it's a lot different than this one, but I think it's an incredible album. I almost put both of those on this thing, but I couldn't do it. My dog is coughing over there, doing her thing. It wouldn't be a 200th episode without that, right? So anyway, check this one out. This one came from Walmart. I think it's worth a bunch of money now because it's sold out. But this is not Walmart. This is Target. But I think there is a Walmart version as well. I just bought it for I think $19 or something like that when it came out, and that was cool. Then another band, one of my favorites, one of my favorite albums of all time. This would be on my Desert Island. And I got this for $19.99. It's well more than that now for some reason. I think they went out of print right after they went into print. That's Concrete Blonde's Bloodletting. It's an amazing album. It's kind of a dark goth alternative rock thing. They're kind of punk, especially in the early albums, but they kind of dabbled in different things. But this one is the kind of for the vampires, I guess. But this one is great. This one has Bloodletting, the vampire song, Sky's a Poisonous Garden, Caroline, Darkening of the Light, I Don't Need a Hero, Days and Days, The Beast, Lullaby, Joey, which was their hit song from this, which doesn't seem like it fits as far as the theme of everything else in here. It's still a good song, but it's just like the least good song on it, I think. And I think it's a really good song, but it I don't know. I don't know what. So maybe the record company said put this on there or something, and they wanted to release it as a single. And then the last song, Tomorrow Windy, which is like the saddest song ever. If you don't know the story of Tomorrow Windy, look it up. There's a video for it, but it's not a real video. But it's basically about a person, a woman. It was written by Andy Preboy, who was in Wall of Voodoo, who did the Mexican radio song. But he wrote the song, but gave it to them to record, I guess. He may play on this song, I'm not sure. But Tomorrow Windy is about a girl who has AIDS and she knows she's going to die. And, this was back in the 80s. And so the song is her looking into the mirror and like questioning God and everything. And not questioning, but not questioning at the same time. So I think it's a really powerful song. Check this out. You get into this, then you can go either way with their catalog. As far as what's next, because they don't really have much bad stuff as far as I'm concerned. But this will take you into like goth kind of stuff. So if you want to go down that trail, a little bit of punk, a little bit of goth, a little bit of this, there you go. Concrete Blonde. Check them out. Next one, which was a huge hit song in the 80s, and I could not believe it when I found this at a pawn shop for $10. Probably would have paid $30 for it. in the condition it's in, and the record plays great, but the cover's a little bad. Midnight Oil's Diesel and Dust. This is one of my favorite albums. They were popular for the song Beds Are Burning, but man, they got some. As they say, they got some bangers. This one, you get this album, you need to immediately buy not Diesel and Dust, Blue Sky Mine. Those two albums just go hand in hand. If I'm going to listen to this, I got to pull out the Blue Sky Mine as well, which I don't have on vinyl. I have it on CD. But those, they fit perfectly. They got different kind of styles a little bit on some of the other albums, but those two are the ones you want to go for. If you like this, then you know that they kind of define late 80s alternative rock. And you got Beds Are Burning, Put Down That Weapon, Dream World, which was another pretty good hit, Arctic World, Warwick, I can never say that word, Warwick Arena, I guess, The Dead Heart, Bull Roar, Sometimes is the last song, and Sometimes is a great song. There's a video for that one. Go check that song out. That's a really good song. So check out Midnight Oil, Diesel and Dust for a little alternative rock. If you like them, you know, they kind of fit with that U2, early U2, I should say. You know, that kind of stuff. REM, those people. That's kind of stuff you would go for that. Now, speaking of early punk pioneers, some people say they are the originators, and I don't know if they are or not, but I kind of consider them to be, as far as punk rock goes, because the other bands get a little different. I think this is where the real punk sound started. And Sex Pistols, never mind the Bollocks is probably right. Here's the Sex Pistols. My version has some white papers torn on it, on the front and the back. I got this for $15. The record is like awesome. It's brand new, pretty much. The inner sleeve is pretty nice. The cover's messed up, and when I got there and I saw it in this bin, I couldn't believe it, and it didn't have a price on it. And I thought the guy was going to tell me like $70-$80, and I said, "Look, I might want to get this, but I don't know how much it costs. Can you tell me?" You know, he goes, "Oh, we haven't even checked those in yet." I said, "Can you tell me? Because I don't, you know, if I leave it here, it's not gonna be here next time. I don't think, you know." And so he said, "Yeah, I'll deal with it." And he went and he looked it up. And he looked at the record, and he comes back and he says, $15. And I was like, sold, because I was expecting it was gonna be a lot more, and I knew I wasn't gonna be able to buy it if it was like $60 or $70, but I was expecting it to be at least 30 or 40, and I would have probably paid for it that day, but anyway, it's a really good copy of it. Just the cover's kind of beat up, and I don't really care. So anyway, Sex Pistols, you know, they're famous for Anarchy in the UK, and you can't see all the song titles on mine, but Pretty Vacant, No Feelings, Guys Say the Queen, Holidays in the Sun, EMI, Bodies I think is the one that's covered. Problems, just a great early punk rock record, and this is where I think it really started. You know, even if I think the Ramones came out first, but the Ramones, they were more rock and roll more than they were punk to me. As you know, they had the same attitude, I guess, but I just feel like they were a little bit different, and that led to more, I think, than the Ramones did. That's, you know, if that's a thing to be said. Controversial, right? 200 episodes, you got to be controversial. Next one, of course, the Nirvana album. We got to cover the Winky. Nirvana, Nevermind. As I said before, I had songs from this before it even came out. But let's talk about what's on it. Smells Like Teen Spirit, In Bloom, Come As You Are, Breed, Lithium, Polly, Territorial Pissings, Drain You, Lounge Act, Stay Away, On a Plane, and Something in the Way. This one, I've got like 3 versions of this now. I even bought the box set of the CDs. This one is the Target 1 LP Silver Vinyl Edition, and I have the anniversary one with the extra single in it. So I probably have 2 versions of this. I think they're both from Target. But you know, this one everybody knows the story of Nirvana. Everybody knows what happened with them. So I'm not even going to say, but if you get that, it's going to lead you to everything in the '90s, and maybe still till this day, it still probably leads you some places. Next up, I got 3 left. Let's see if we can do this in just a couple more minutes. This one is the album that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I won this poster at a fair. I've said this before in other videos, but I won the poster at a fair. I came home with it. I knew of the band, but I didn't know what to do with this poster, and it scared the shit out of me. And I'm saying that on my show because it did. And I was terrified of this poster, but I, it was one of those things where you're scared of something, but you still want it. I don't know. And I knew if I hung it on my wall, there was going to be trouble. My mom would have came in and said, "What is this on your wall?" And so what I did was I hung it in my closet behind, I think it was maybe behind the door. I don't know. But it was in my closet and you couldn't see it unless you really wanted to see it. And that would be Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast. This is the 180 gram black vinyl original album art and high-res audio remasters. And it says Iron Maiden Legacy of the Beast, mobile RPG game now available. I don't know. This is not the one where they did they had the extra disc and the extra song, or they changed the song. Listen, but that album cover scared me to death. I thought that devil was going to get me, and I didn't know who Eddie really was, but this guy right here, I thought he was coming to get me. So they were in my closet forever. I don't know when they came out of the closet, but they definitely were in the closet for a while. So this one has Invaders, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, The Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Gangland, and Hallowed Be Thy Name. I think everything on here is great. Some people don't like Bruce Dickinson for some reason. I think this is the first album with him, if I'm correct. I think he's great. I think that man can he can sing. So I like, this is a good place for me to start Iron Maiden. I know some people like to go back to the Paul Di'Anno days and the early stuff, and I do have some of that. I think it's on cassette. I think I've got the first one, Iron Maiden, on cassette. And I have some singles from stuff, but this is where I started with Iron Maiden. I eventually got this on cassette, and then CD, and then I found it a couple years ago on this version. This is a newer pressing. It's not anything original. So anyway, Iron Maiden's Number of the Beast. This will take you into heavy metal, a little bit on the darker side, but maybe still kind of, I wouldn't say hair metal because it wasn't, but it's that other kind of heavy metal. The cool kids heavy metal, I should say. Maybe you listen to this, then you probably listen to Black Sabbath and things like that, where it's not like the Motley Crues and stuff like that of the world. But definitely a good place to start on Iron Maiden. And this will scare you if you're a kid at 12 years old, or however old I was when this came out. I don't know what year it came out. Probably came out in 83 or 84, something like that. So I was somewhere in the 11, 12-year-old range, and that scared me. It really scared me. It's not scaring me right now, but if I keep looking at it, it just might bring back some old memories. So, got 2 left. What will we look at next? Okay, we'll go with this one. This one is would probably be the introduction to like hardcore punk for me, which this band did change a lot. They've got a couple different styles, even closer to heavy metal at some points. But this one, the original Suicidal Tendencies self-titled album. This is a special colored vinyl. They reprint this album so often. I think it probably comes in every color they make. But this one is a pink translucent vinyl. But this one, you'll know Institutionalized, the one where Mike Muir wants a Pepsi. Everybody knows that song. It's a funny song, great song. But this one introduced me to the different kind of punk, and so I've had this for a long time as far as the CD goes. I didn't get it on cassette, but I had a CD, and I got this several years ago. But definitely a great album. I got several of their albums on CD, several of them on vinyl. I would like to get them all on vinyl, and I'm working on that. Just gotta you know, got to get there. You know, there's only so much money. But anyway, Suicide's an Alternative. You'll Be Sorry. Two-Sided Politics. I Shot the Devil, which there's another version of that song, or maybe it's the same song but different name. It's I Shot Reagan with the title. And I think on this one it does say I Shot Reagan, but I think they probably had to pull that name off of there for political reasons or whatever. Subliminal. Won't Fall in Love Today. Institutionalized. I'm not crazy. Institutionalized. Memories of Tomorrow. Possessed. And that one also has another version that says Possessed to Skate. Possessed to Skate. I Saw Your Mommy. Fascist Pig. I Want More. And Suicidal Failure. This one, this is the original band members, which they changed members a lot in this band. Mike Muir is the constant, the singer, but they've gone through so many other people. Luigi Mayorga, I think he was in for a while, but I don't think he's there anymore. Just he's the bass player. I know he's not there because the guy in Metallica was in there as bass for a while, but I think he may have come back. I don't know. I don't remember. But drums were Marie Smith and guitar was Grant Estes. And the last thing I want to talk about, which introduced me to a more indie style of alternative rock, and till this day, this is like a greatest hits, sort of, but this is still a great album. I was so happy they put this out on Record Store Day last year or the year before, one of them, and it's Superchunk, incidental music, 1991 to 1995, or 1991 to 95. Such a great album. It's alternative rock, but it's not mainstream. And there are some pop oriented kind of songs, but such a great album. Get this if you can. I got the CD, and the CD has this has 18 songs, so maybe the CD has 18 songs as well. But it was so cheap when I bought it, and I bought it brand new, and it was real cheap. So I don't know if you can get it cheap anymore, but at least try to get it on CD. And then this will lead you to a different kind of alternative rock. And this has got Shallow Wind, which is my favorite, first song. Mower, On the Mouth, another favorite. Cadmium, another favorite. Who Needs Light, Ribbon, Foolish, 100,000 Fireflies, which is a cover, but a great cover. That's Magnetic Fields, I believe, did that originally. And then I had a friend that, I don't know if he's a friend anymore because I haven't heard from him forever, but his band covered that here in New Orleans one time live, and I was like the only one there that knew what it was. Invitation, Makeout Bench, Baxter, Connecticut, Lying in State, Throwing Things, the acoustic version, I'll Be Your Sister, Night of Chill Blue, Forged It, Home at Dawn. So, Shallow End is probably the best song. Look that one up. And Mower. There's another song. I don't remember which one it is, but the Robin's Egg and It Was Blue song, whatever that one is. I think that's Mower. But anyway, check this band out if you're into alternative rock and you want something a little different. This is a good place to start with that indie rock stuff, because indie rock stuff is kind of weird sometimes, and but this is a good place because it's kind of mainstream, but not mainstream so much, a little bit off of mainstream. Check them out, Superchunk. They've got other albums. I've got several of them. They've all been good, and you won't be disappointed. So anyway, that's it. The 200th episode. It's over an hour and a half almost. No, it's not. An hour and 23 minutes. I'm surprised the video is still running. I will talk to you guys later. I got a lot of other stuff coming up. I got about 3 or 4 videos I can make in the next day if I want to, but I don't know when I'll put them out. But anyway, it's been great for everybody that's stuck around, and if anybody watched this whole video, man, you need to be applauded because this was a long one. But I thank you all for supporting me when you do, and leaving comments or whatever. I'm not here to fish for likes. I'm not here to fish for subscribers and all that stuff. Everybody does it, but if you want to be here, you'll be here, and if not, I'm fine with that too. And I hope everybody has a good holiday season coming up, and New Year's and all that stuff. Hope all that works out, and I promise you guys I will have a giveaway real soon, and there will be at least 2 winners. I still haven't decided if there will be a 3rd winner. There will be at least 3 albums given away to each of the winners. At least the top 2. Maybe if there's a 3rd, I might just do 1 or 2 records. But anyway, that's that. Talk to you guys later. This has been a long, long episode. Thank you.